Here at Plymouth, the matched funding scheme has been hugely important because it's been the catalyst to re-establishing the Development Office. In the past, there's been some vacancies in key posts, so now we've made those appointments and this is a full team ready to make the most of the philanthropic income to the university.
The matched funding scheme has been a unique opportunity for Birkbeck. As you know, Birkbeck is a unique institution. It's London's only part-time provider of higher education opportunities for Londoners. And the match funding scheme has allowed us to fast-track some of those relationships and to really inspire people into donating now. One of the interesting things is that, like many institutions around the country, Birkbeck was founded on philanthropy, and the match funding scheme has allowed us to really embed that culture of philanthropy and re-engage people with the notion that giving money to higher education institutions is a good thing to do.
It really has had the most relevance to major gift conversations. Those people who know and understand the impact of philanthropic giving to universities can see that that's a commitment of the government to supporting what we're doing. And certainly in some of the lower level gifts, I believe that that's been what has converted them to giving. They want to see us getting the most money that we can get from the government at this time.
Well, we started promoting the scheme before it was officially launched in pre-communications with our alumni. Largely speaking, our communications, volume communications, have been to alumni, but not to the exclusion of other constituencies, important constituencies, such as our suppliers and other friends of the university. We've embedded our communications in all of our fundraising activities, be they verbal or written, face-to-face or online. And we've continued to do that and adapt as the scheme has developed and as we've learned from other things that we've been doing during the scheme.
Birkbeck was placed in Tier 2 of the match funding scheme, which meant that we had to raise at least 2.7 million in order to hit our maximum cap of 1.35 million through the match funding from HEFCE. I'm really pleased to say that in actual fact we exceeded that 2.7 million target in the first couple of years of the scheme by quite a long way.
I think in terms of the higher education environment, the University of Plymouth is very geared up towards impact in the region, and so we as a university have lots of very attractive projects that engage with stakeholders like widening participation groups, like the community and like the regeneration of the city economically, which makes us very attractive to trusts and foundations, and that I think is at the bottom of our successes so far.
A great deal of hard work has gone into making a success of the programme inside the university, in our alumni communications, in prospect research and in the data mining that we do within the Development Office. So a lot of that back office work is absolutely crucial for us as the front office fundraisers in achieving the successes and the targets that we have.
One of the things that have helped us to be so successful over the past couple of years since the scheme's been up and running is the involvement that the Master and the other senior management team at Birkbeck have had in the scheme. Professor Latchman, Birkbeck's Master, has always been very involved and fortunately for us very, very good at fundraising. But since the scheme started, he's really engaged with what we're trying to do, not just on the major gifts level, but also on the annual fund level donations. And he's very interested and has seen the value in how small donations can eventually, if treated properly, grow into much, much larger donations and help embed a culture of philanthropy and giving.
Here at Nottingham Trent, we recognise that the environment for us as a post-92 university is certainly a challenging one. We think that the universities that are going to be successful in the future are universities that are able to adapt and evolve as the university, as the higher education funding model adapts and evolves. We feel that the scheme has been really important for us in helping to develop a culture of giving to education. We think that we're very grateful to have had the opportunity to have benefited from the scheme, and if we're honest, we would love the scheme to extend a little bit further for another 2 or 3 years to help us really embed the culture of giving into the university.
Like so many other institutions in the UK, Birkbeck was founded on the notion of philanthropy, and although giving to universities isn't something that's been particularly popular in the 20th century, I think the match funding scheme has started to lay those trends again and to set some solid foundations for the future of private giving to universities in the UK.
From my point of view, in terms of working in development, I think that the match funding scheme helps us to work in an environment which takes fundraising as a given instead of persuading people of the value of it. From my point of view, the government's scheme has made an impact on that mentality. Having said that, beyond the scheme, I think that our activity carries on regardless, in that this is fundamental to universities and we must carry on and build on the successes. Certainly at Plymouth, we will end up with a full team maximising income coming up to the end of the scheme. Our rewards will be reaped much later, I would say, building on the groundwork made as a result of the scheme.
Universities are undoubtedly incredibly important places. I think fundraisers' challenges within the university sector is to try to explain to potential donors, why is it that they're such important places? What are the emotive projects that universities are involved in that would mean that that donors need to support them? I think there's an inclination for people to think that universities aren't as important as the traditional charities out there that have been fundraising for years and years. But that simply isn't the case. And our challenge is to try and persuade people that fundraising for universities is important.
In our materials that we're producing to support our activities, we're using many quotations which seem to epitomise what the thrust is of our activity. And my favourite one is Winston Churchill, who said, "You make a living by what you get, you make a life by what you give." And to me that sums up the idea that in supporting higher education, individuals can not only repay what they've received from education, directly or indirectly, but they can also have a stake in the future of it.